What in the world is happening? I want to get on just for a quick moment to talk about some of the events that are taking place in the United States and around the world. If you don't know who I am, I'm Deborah, and I am the founder of the Writers Incorporated International and the author of the Scribal Watchman. And so, as I'm watching these events take place, I am also paying attention and keeping my ear to God's heart to try to see what's going on in regards to biblical prophecy. My group and I have been in a time of fasting and prayer. And so we are really digging in, trying to see what God is saying, trying to determine where He wants us to go in the future. And so I thought I'd share something with you just as for educational and informational purposes only, because we have to keep our eyes on Israel. Israel is our time clock. And as we inch closer and closer to the midnight hour, if we are not paying attention to what's going on, if we are not in tune with what is going on in this earth, we are going to miss it. Now is the time to keep your oil lamps filled. Keep your oil lamps filled with oil. Do not be asleep without having your oil lamp filled. So I'm just going to share my screen right quick, and I'm going to share with you what has been going on. Let's see if I how to do this. Be patient with me as I get on to using this StreamYard. Okay, let's go and
President
talk.
Trump late today suggesting Palestinians should leave Gaza, that they should get a fresh, beautiful piece of land someplace else. The president went on to say late this evening, with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at his side, that the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too, he said. We will own it. The U.S. will be responsible for dismantling the dangerous unexploded bombs, level the site, and create economic development. Just can't go back, the president said. Now, the president saying this during a news conference this evening with the Israeli prime minister. And this new suggestion that Palestinians should leave comes just days after the world saw those images of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians returning to North Gaza after so many months of war. So where would this beautiful piece of land someplace else be? And how will this work with the U.S., as the president suggested, taking over the Gaza Strip? Our chief White House correspondent, Barry Bruce, leading us off tonight.
Tonight, standing next to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, President Trump declaring that the United States would take over the Gaza Strip.
Guys, this is not a game. This is not a game. We are living out prophetic times. We are living in biblical times. These are the times that God gave me as a child. In my book, The Scribal Watchman, I talk about how as a child, I would have repeated dreams over and over again about the end times. And these are the times we are living in. God is coming back, and we ought to be excited. We need to continue to occupy. Things are accelerating at a break speed is what I'm trying to say. We need to be in position. Gaza was the territory taken over by the Philistines, and the Philistines are the enemy of Israel. Israel is a very tiny speck on the map in regards to the Middle East. Israel as a nation, Israel as a piece of land. That piece of land belongs to God. He said Israel belongs to him. So when we talk about the enemy coming against Israel, we are talking about the people that are coming against that sliver of land that God claimed as his own. It is very, very biblical in regards to what's taking over. The Bible talks about Gaza being totally demolished, totally destroyed. You can find that in Amos 1 verse 7. So we need to make sure that we are paying attention. Here in the U.S., they are dismantling the Department of Education, the FBI, the CIA, all the alphabets. There's a total uprooting and a total restructuring of what's taking place in America. We are moving closer and closer to the timeline of end times. What does that mean? we will soon see. If you read the Bible tells us that when Christ comes back, he's coming back for a purified bride. So it's going to appear uncomfortable for the moment. And why is it going to be uncomfortable? Because we're used to the Department of Education being in place. We're used to seeing the FBI in place. We're used to seeing the CIA in place. We're used to seeing U.S. aid or USA aid in place. But guess what? They're corrupt, and God is uprooting and dismantling everything. If it was not meant for this particular President Donald Trump, to be in place at this time, he would not be. The enemy cannot stop it. What they fail to remember is the God factor. This is God using man to do his will on earth. And we as believers must be in prayer. We must be positioned in prayer. We cannot take this time lightly. We cannot be ignorant of the times. We need to be on our face. We need to be doing what we need to do. We need to cleanse ourselves, repent, and turn from our wickedness. Guys, this is some serious times. It's exciting times also, because we know that God is in it. God is in it. God is in it. And to see things cleaned up, it's challenging when you see a 200-year organization or organizations that have been around since the 60s uprooted, torn up, destroyed. We're also seeing people that don't belong in this country removed. They're being removed, and they're being removed because they need to come in the right way. Jesus said no one can come through the Father except through the Son. You cannot steal your way into the kingdom. You cannot bypass the kingdom. There's only one way to God, and that's through Jesus. Let me see. There's God the Father, and there's God the Son, there's God the Holy Spirit, and his pronouns are he, not she. So we need to get back to the Bible. We need to get back to the root of things. This is a clarion call to those who have ears here. Get on your face and repent. Get in that word. God is calling us to be the light in darkness. He's cleaning out house. He's cleaning out things. The U.S. Department of Education is gone as we know it. The CIA is gone as we know it. The FBI is gone as we know it. Every day you wake up, there's something else that's going on. Something else is happening. There's an uprooting, a tearing down, a rebuilding, but we're moving closer. All the pieces are in place in regards to the end times. Everything is in place. So what is our job is to not walk in fear. We are not called to be in fear. Fear is not our portion. Power, love, and a sound mind is what we have. We have a sound mind. You do not live in fear. Do not live in fear. These are some hard times, but these are the best times. These are the times God foretold. So now we need to walk according to God's purpose and his plan in this hour. I'm super excited about what God is doing. I glorify his name because nothing goes through God except through him. Except through God. We have weather forecasted. God says he has storehouses of snow and hail. We're about to go under another polar vortex. Pay attention to what God is doing. When that X came across the U.S. in 2024, April 8th, 2024, God was marking the U.S. Why was he marking it? Instead, it's not another natural event. We need to pay attention. What is God saying? Get our ears, pull down your plate. Pull down your plate and get on your face and see what God is saying. He has things in store for us. He said he knows the plan he has for us, plans to prosper us, plans for a future and a hope. When Christ comes back, it's not like we're going up in this cloud, we're going to be raptured away and that's it. No, if the church is removed, then all hell is about to break out. That's what's going to take place. But as long as the church, God has mercy on this nation. We are in a land of a time of grace. Yes, ma'am, I am. I'm preparing it right now. I am going to start doing it. Yes, I am. Because I've had things before and I think it's time. It's time. It's time. And I realized that God has poured a lot in me, and that he, not only that, he's also ordained me as a prophet. How do you find your assignment and mantle specifically as a prophet? You have to get in God's face. If you know what you're called to do you know, by chance, do you know what God has called you to do? I'm glad you came on today. Do you know what God has called you to do? Do you know, does he use you? How does he use you, first of all? Does he use you to speak to people? Does he use you to write? Because he uses me to write a lot of times, but you can do both. And a lot of times you have to understand there's three types of the prophetic. There's the gift, the spirit, and the office. The office of the spirit, of the office of the prophet, you're born into it. You can't even help it. It's just there. It's just there. Deliverance speaking. You speak healing and encouragement, evangelism. Okay, then you may not necessarily be the writing, but you could do both. It's from your messages in the past, it sounds like it kind of comes out, it bubbles up out of your spirit. It seems like you're inspired. Sometimes it's a nudging. It is like when God first called me into the prophetic, I didn't even know what it was. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna just do a little bit of sharing with you here. I didn't even know, because my family was raised in the Lutheran church. Woo! I'm sorry. A reformer and a trailblazer. This is your time right now. Tell the truth in love. Tell it. I'm sorry. That is so exciting, because we are in a time of reformation like never before. That's why we're seeing things happen by President Donald Trump. He is tearing down things. He's reforming. He's a disruptor, and you are a disruptor, and you're a forerunner. You blaze the way for other people. So you have an exciting role as a reformer and a trailblazer. That is super exciting. You're going to bring others along with you. You're setting the path for others to go into, a path that no one else has been in. You're tearing down things, and people do not like the prophetic sometimes, because sometimes, like for example, I may say things and I'm not even trying to say it, but I just say it, and it comes out, that way. And I'm gonna tell you, I've been at jobs before where I'm sitting in the office, and if I say something, for some reason, people get upset. So God said, well, why don't you just do it this way? Ask a question. And when I ask a question, it still upsets them. You know, they know what they're doing. The first time when I was in a church, like I said, I was raised in the Lutheran faith. They don't talk about prophets or prophecy or anything like that. You're there. I was confirmed in the Lutheran church. I knew nothing about the prophetic. And then when I broke away and I started going to some of the charismatic churches, that's when I learned a little bit about it, but I still didn't know. God told me who I was. He'll tell you who you are. Okay. Yes. Prophetic is it, because what he does is he'll tell you, first of all, if he calls you, he's going to call you in a dream or a vision. That's in the book of Numbers. It's going to awaken in a dream or a vision. He will speak to you. He'll call you face to face. No man will ordain you. God will call you into your role. God is the one who releases gifts. So do not let man stop you from being and walking in the fullness of your calling. The only sad thing about the prophetic, though, is sometimes it's a lonely place until you can connect with other people, and then you become activated. See, you're on the yes, write it down. You have to write it down. I was in a church that was in the ministry of, we had a ministry of intercession. And what happened was, during that time of intercession, the more you pray, I started hearing conversations. I could hear what people were saying about me and about other things. And I had to literally turn that off because I was afraid. I was afraid of the gift. When it came to me as a youth, I would have visions and I could literally see what was taking place. And I know that God had already told me when it was going to be reignited, because then it shifted to dreams. I used to have open visions, literally could see what conversations were going to say. And what happened was I got afraid of this vision. He showed me that somebody close to me was going to pass away. And I thought I was just daydreaming, but it's called a trance. And so I blocked it out. And when I blocked it out, I was like, God, I don't know what to do with this gift. I don't want it until you show me how to deal with it. So he was so kind. He just converted into dreams. And so that's what happened with that. Yeah. That's okay. Still walk in what God has gifted you with. And God will show you what you need to do. You need to be with a company of prophets so they can, because iron sharpens iron. And I'm gonna tell you what happened with me on YouTube in 2020. I had a dream that was given a strike, a community strike. I had posted this dream 6 years prior to 2020. In 2014, I guess it was 2014, I posted a dream about what was taking place in the galaxies. And YouTube called it a community strike. But I didn't understand at the time. At the time, I was releasing a lot of my dreams because I was a mature, naive prophet. I didn't know. I just shared it. But they knew what that dream meant. And I believe it's what's taking place, what took place in 2020. There were some things that took place and they understood it. So they gave me a community strike, and I backed away a little bit. But then God said, just keep doing what you got to do, but do it in a different way. And he matured me to not just share everything that I hear. Yes, it will terrify you because you don't know what's taking place in your life. You're like, God, what is happening? What is going on? He'll show you things about people. He'll show you things about your life. He uses a lot of things that's in your life to communicate with you. If you are because he gave me as a visionary prophet, I was able to see things. And because I could see things, he moved it to dreams and visions. But dreams and visions also come with a price, because you have to know how to discern when it's God and when it's not. So it's so important that as you blossom from a mature to a immature to a mature prophet, you allow God to lead you, that you connect with other a company of prophets. But also when you connect with them, make sure that they are in alignment with what you're doing, because I know I've connected with other people that I thought were writers, but they weren't. They weren't. And so you have to nurture your gift until it's developed. But as an immature prophet, I released everything. Eventually, YouTube gave us a break, and they said, if you take this test, we'll clear your community strike. And thank God they did. Because now I'm still kind of seeking God for how to release it. And I'm still not going to release everything here, because I know that there are people that even though, how do I say it? Even though I may not be a big name, there are other people who know your gift. So you have to guard your gift. You have to guard it. You have to nurture it. And then God will release the timing of when you need to release what God has to say. Even in regards to me writing prophetically, I am no longer writing prophetically in the same manner, because God is shifting me. You have to know when to pivot in the prophetic, and that's going to be so, so important. And like I say, now is the time for those people that God has been hiding and developing. He's going to start nurturing them, and they're going to start connecting with other prophetic voices, and they're going to be moving as an army for him. Now is the season. And I am so happy that this is taking place. So I'm not going to stay on long. I promise not to stay on long. There's a lot I said in this short time. Yes, I'm going to be doing something for that's, I don't know if I want to call it the school of the prophet or the company of prophets, but I'm going to be doing a prophetic intensive. I'm going to be releasing that very, very soon. I'm excited about what God is doing. God has poured into me as an ordained prophet, as a doctor of education. And I want to be able to pour back into those people that is assigned for me in this hour. because we're going forth as a mighty army. And these are some of the hurtful times. These are some of the worst times. And these are some of the best times. But to God be the glory. Amen. This is Deborah signing out, founder of the Writers in Corn International. Be sure to like, subscribe, turn on your notifications, and let's get going. Shalom. He didn't want me to go because you guys are sweet.